Time for another episode of Flashback. Tracks from the past.
In the 80s and 90s, we had modems, games, cool computers, and it was the golden age of the demo scene. But we had no concept of IT security. It simply did not exist. In the year of 2000, a Canadian teenager brought big parts of the internet to a halt. He was 15. Damme, Brotherhood. In the fall of 2019, Swedish podcast IT-säkerhetspodden, run by me and collaborator Mattias Jadesköld, we met with Michael Calce, who is forever known to the world as Mafiaboy. On the 7th of February 2000, in the tail end of what we today note as the retro era, he took down eBay, CNN and Amazon. But the story starts much earlier.
My journey started out at a really young age. I was 6 years old when I got my first computer, and I was 9 years old when I accessed the internet for the first time. And I was quickly exposed to this community of hackers. I found it on my journey when I was looking for pirated software. And as it turns out, hackers ran the distribution of this pirated software. So I wanted to gain quicker access to it, and I decided at this point that I should become a hacker.
All right.
And I joined on an IRC network of EFNet, which is Internet Relay Chat. And there was tens of thousands of hackers. And I devoted my time to becoming the number one hacker.
Atekuro, a new generation. It is a sure thing that any computer nerd remember his or her first computer. Michael Calce has fond memories of what became the start of his journey into computing.
What an amazing feeling. Honestly, I remember like it was like yesterday. My dad put the box in front of me and he said, "Here, you figure it out." And I couldn't wait. I plugged it in, powered it on. I heard all the beeping noises and churning sounds, and after it booted in, the system just sat there and it was waiting for me to input a command. And that's when I realized at that very moment, I am the master of this device.
Gargaj of mla.t design. The tune is called A Drill. We have all different experiences on the net, but Michael heard the siren call of the dark side early on.
Yeah, that was not intentional or planned, but at a certain point I wanted to buy video games and pieces of software for my system, and I wasn't sure if my dad was going to give me his credit card, especially since a lot of video games and software were expensive. So I needed to find a way to illegally download this stuff, which was known as warez back in the day, which was pirated software. And I found it, but I couldn't get immediate access to it. I would ask the automated bot to give me the program that I wanted or the game that I wanted, but it would put me in a huge queue order, and I was on a 14.4K modem, so I wasn't going to get this game or software that I wanted for a very long time. And when I realized that hackers were the ones distributing it, that's when I decided I'm going to go into the dark side.
Okay, laugh at his pronunciation of warez all you want. But you know, he's Canadian, so what about that, eh? Butch of UnLimit, Autumn Secrets. Technical challenges are interesting, but social engineering, the craft of making people do your bidding, was something he learned at the age of 9. His first target was AmericaOnline, formerly QuantumLink.
So when I was on AmericaOnline for the first time, it was actually given to me as a 30-day free trial period. And again, same issue, wasn't sure if my dad was going to give me his credit card to stay online and reinstate the AOL internet service. So I needed to find a way to continue online without paying for it. That's when I had access to a program known as AOL, which granted me the ability to simply appear as an administrator to other AOL users. Because the administrators on AmericaOnline, their name was in a different color.
You were also capable to throw people off AOL then?
Right. In the same program, there was the ability to punt a user, which would basically sever their internet connection to AOL. And I think that was my first actual interest in hacking and kind of having that power and capability.
Right.
So I needed to find a way to stay online, and I used this administrative capability to fool other users, convincing them that I was an administrator to give me their login and password.
Darkhalo, Liquid Light. Eventually, he decided to become a true hacker and joined one of the many Russian hacker groups out there.
So in the late 90s, when I was a part of a really well-known elite Russian hacker group that went by the name of TNT Force, when I joined them, I became under fire by denial of service attacks by other hackers that were trying to take out me and other members.
But the TNT group, they recruited you, right?
Yeah, they recruited me at the age of 12.
Did they know that?
No, nobody knew anybody's age online.
All right.
To be fair, even in the private channel of TNT, like 2 of the main members were literally from Russia, and I didn't understand half of the things that they were saying because it was broken English and mixed with Russian, and so it was an interesting experience, but I had access to some of the brightest minds in the world in terms of technology.
Yeah.
KO0X, time flies. It was in this hacker group Michael Calce, known as Mafiaboy, learned a new tool of destruction.
So when I joined them, I became the focus fire of the other hacker groups and other hackers. And denial of service was really potent style of attack used at this point in time. And so I decided to start using DDoS attacks against my competition. Now the problem was when I wanted to launch a large-scale attack, nobody was able to do so because we had limited resources, and our actual physical computer was, a Pentium 133 or something similar. So I needed to find a way and create a concept that would solve this problem. That's when I decided to hack into 30,000 plus networks and combine them all into one network, and created a massive, probably the world's first ever denial of service botnet.
Extreme, and a tune, it's called Lostlove. It's version 3.5. Good to know. By this time, he was already far into black hat territory, and he knew how to install malware on others' computers.
Yeah, so I used a variation of several programs. The main one that I used for the majority of my attacks were my own creation, and I used a co-author, which went by the name of Sinkhole, who was a hacker from another group that wasn't a rival to us, but he was a very close friend of mine. And I also sampled some other programs that were being created in the space. There was one known as Stacheldraht, which means barbed wire in German.
Oh, yeah.
So I sampled with other people's technology and software that they were creating, but the program that I created was the most effective.
Gemini of Rebels, Bleeps and Bloops. Yeah, the titles made me laugh. So the target's done. He really hit the big ones.
Yeah, Yahoo, eBay, CNN, Dell, Amazon.
Yeah. And no one was on to you, like you didn't...
No,
at the beginning.
I was the I fell victim to my own ego at this point.
Right.
I was young. I was 15 years old, and I started boasting to other hackers in the community that I was the one responsible for these attacks, and the FBI started to catch up on that.
By the time, wasn't it so that there were very little protection on sites for DDoS attacks?
Absolutely.
It
was more of a lot of it came down to certain packet types. There was packet filters in place, and it was also when you look at a giant like Yahoo, the amount of bandwidth that they had available to them in comparison to everyone else was literally scary. So you needed massive amounts of bandwidth. But even to this day, there's, there's obviously Cloudflare, you have solutions and stuff, but denial of service will always remain potent.
Forage and Space Justice Wolf. Imagine turning on the TV and seeing the world in panic over something you did. And if you think Mr. Calce didn't figure this was his doing, think again.
Oh, I knew it was me, trust me. And I pretty much crapped my pants at that point. Being a 15-year-old kid and sitting on a couch and watching live TV and watching the President of the United States, the former President of the United States, Bill Clinton, go live on TV and convene the first ever cybersecurity summit based on what you did, that's a lot to digest.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's more like it's a big difference between like a normal 15-year-old prank.
Yeah, some of my friends would have fun on Halloween throwing an egg at a house or a toilet paper in a tree. And, I was shutting down major e-commerce sites.
keen back to yesterday. It was now time to face the consequences.
So when they actually came to place the arrest, I don't know if it was strategy on their part or they just made a mistake, because I know they were monitoring my house.
How did you know that?
Because so there's a provider that provides all the internet, well, the majority of the internet and the TV in my area, which was known as Bell, like based after Alexander Graham Bell, who created the telephone. Yeah. So that's basically they have pretty much a monopoly. There's only one other company that competes with them. Anyways, they were always at the end of my street in plain view. I could see them and they were there every day, all night. And the truth is like, if your internet or your TV went down in that time frame, like they would take like a week to come fix it. And here they were every single day, every night, in front of my house. So I mean, it was pretty obvious.
It's like they say, it's not paranoia if they're really out to get you.
That's exactly accurate.
Megus of Brainwave Tracks, Bilbo's Road Song. Whatever came out of this? According to Wikipedia, the US Federal Bureau of Investigation and the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, they first noticed Calce when he started claiming in IRC chat rooms that he was responsible for the attacks. He then became the chief suspect when he claimed to have brought down Dell's website. Calce initially denied responsibility, but later pleaded guilty to most of the charges brought against him. His lawyer insisted the child had only ran unsupervised tests to help design an improved firewall, whereas trial records indicate the youth showed no remorse and had expressed desire to move to Italy for its lax computer crime laws. The Montreal Youth Court sentenced him on September 12, 2001 to 8 months of open custody, 1 year of probation, restricted use of the internet, and a small fine. Well, there is one more question. Has Michael learned anything?
Since the attacks, I devoted my life to raising awareness around this topic, and I authored a book that discusses my story, and I use sort of that platform to help companies, individuals, and governments.
Good to know. He now works as an advisor to HP. And that's all I got for you today on this podcast. Thanks for listening. This is DJ Daemon signing off. In a week, another episode will be available. please go to ericade.radio for the latest on the station.